Good evening, friends. Tonight, I want you to listen very carefully, because what I am about to reveal is not just a story, not just a piece of philosophy. It is a truth that has been whispered in secret circles for centuries. A truth about women, about power, and about the silent tests that decide who wins and who loses in love. Have you ever felt that the woman standing in front of you, the one who smiles, the one who talks sweetly, is not simply listening to you, but actually testing you? Every word you say, every decision you make, every hesitation in your eyes, she notices. She is not only with you, she is studying you. Arthur Schopenhauer, one of the harshest philosophers to ever write about women, once said that a man loses interest not because beauty fades, but because the mystery dies. Think about that for a moment. When the mystery disappears, the game is over. But women, whether consciously or unconsciously, know how to protect that mystery. And often, they protect it by testing you. Here's the dark paradox. A woman fears being led by a weak man, yet she despises the man who blindly follows her. This is not a contradiction, it is her survival instinct. She wants strength, but she also wants freedom. And in between these two extremes lies the battlefield every man steps into, whether he knows it or not. Now let me ask you, how many times has this happened in your life? You say something, and she pauses, looks at you, and questions you in a way that makes you doubt yourself. Or she gives you advice, and then secretly watches whether you obey her or stand firm on your own ground. These are not casual moments. These are silent traps. And if you think this is just random behavior, you are mistaken. This is philosophy in motion. This is psychology wrapped in instinct. And it is happening to you every single day. Tonight, we are going to tear open this secret world. We will walk through Schopenhauer's brutal truths, Machiavelli's dark strategies, and Jung's shadow psychology. We will uncover why women test men, how men lose themselves, and what you can do to never be crushed under these hidden games. So stay with me until the end, because what I am about to tell you might change the way you look at every woman you have ever met. Friends, let me take you a little deeper. Have you ever wondered why women test men at all? Why they create these hidden examinations, these invisible challenges? The answer is simple on the surface, but terrifying when you dig deeper. A woman tests you not because she hates you, not even because she wants to dominate you. She tests you because she is searching. Searching for certainty. Searching for strength. Searching for a man who can hold his ground when the world shakes. Imagine this, you are walking with her, and a decision needs to be made, something as small as choosing a place to sit. You hesitate, you say, "I don't know," you decide. At that moment, a silent note is written in her mind. And the note says, this man cannot lead. She may smile, she may shrug it off, but the test has already been recorded. Why do women do this? Because deep inside, they know life is a battlefield. Nature has written it into their instincts. If they follow a weak man, they risk not just their happiness, but their survival. Now let me turn the mirror toward you. How many times have you felt confused when a woman argued with you for no reason? Or when she picked a fight over something small? You thought, why is she doing this? Why is she making life harder? The truth is, these are not accidents. These are tests. And if you are honest with yourself, you will realize that in most of these moments, you reacted, sometimes with anger, sometimes with silence, sometimes by giving in completely. And each reaction shaped the way she saw you. Remember this, women do not test men to break them. They test men to measure them. To see whether you are the kind of man who bends under pressure, or the kind who becomes unshakable. Philosophers like Schopenhauer and even modern psychologists agree on one thing: women are driven by a need for security. And security is not only about money, or strength, or beauty, it is about certainty of character. So when she questions your decisions, when she mocks your opinion, when she withholds her affection just to see how you respond, she is not just playing games. She is demanding proof. Proof that you are the man she can trust her life with. And here's where most men fail. They think these little battles don't matter. They say, "Oh, I'll just keep her happy. I'll do whatever she wants." But friends, listen carefully. The moment you blindly follow her, you fail the test. Because she never wanted a follower, she wanted a leader who could also love her. This is why women test men. Not because they enjoy conflict. Not because they are cruel. But because, deep inside, they are searching for the man who will not crumble under their silent examinations. Friends, now we arrive at the moment where philosophy stops being gentle and turns brutally honest. Arthur Schopenhauer, one of the darkest minds in philosophy, did not speak in sweet words. He tore open human illusions with a knife of truth. And when he wrote about women, he was merciless. Schopenhauer claimed that men lose interest not simply because beauty fades with age, but because the mystery that once drew them disappears. Think carefully about this. How often do relationships collapse not because of some disaster, but because the man quietly feels that the woman in front of him is no longer a puzzle, no longer a challenge? He went further. He said that women, by their very nature, are closer to the instinct of survival than to higher reason. That their power comes not from logic, but from their ability to capture, to test, to manipulate when necessary. To him, love was not a fairy tale, it was a battlefield dressed in flowers. But here lies the harshest truth. Schopenhauer believed that women instinctively drain a man of his strength if he is not careful. They do not mean to destroy him, but they will, if he allows it. Because when a man gives away his power completely, he is no longer a man in her eyes, he is just another follower. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever felt drained after constantly trying to please a woman? Have you ever noticed how the more you gave in, the less she respected you? Schopenhauer would nod and say, "Exactly. This is the silent paradox of attraction. At first, she is drawn to your mystery, your strength, your ability to stand apart. But the moment you abandon that strength in the name of pleasing her, the attraction begins to rot. She may stay, she may smile, but inside, she is slowly pulling away." Schopenhauer's writings shock people even today because they strip away the illusions we love to believe in. We want to think that love is eternal, that once someone chooses us, they will never test us again. But reality, as Schopenhauer revealed, is far colder. Women test because instinct demands it. Men lose interest because the mystery dissolves. And only those who understand this cycle can escape the endless trap. Now let me ask you, my friends, have you seen this in real life? A man who was once admired, who had confidence, who walked into a room and owned it, but after months of trying to keep his woman happy, he became smaller, weaker, invisible. She no longer looked at him the same way. That is not an accident. That is the brutal truth Schopenhauer exposed. But here's the most important part. This truth is not meant to make you hopeless. It is meant to wake you up. Because if you know the game, you can change the rules. If you understand the test, you can pass it. And if you recognize the harsh reality, you can turn it into your strength. So as we move forward, keep this in mind. Attraction is not about endless giving. It is about holding on to your power. And power, once lost, is almost impossible to regain. Friends, let me give you one of the most chilling paradoxes about women. Listen carefully. She fears being led by a weak man, yet she despises the man who follows her. Do you feel the weight of these words? This is not just poetry, it is reality. Women live with this hidden contradiction every single day. On one side, she cannot allow herself to be guided by a weak man, Because weakness to her means danger. It means insecurity. It means she will have to carry the burden that was supposed to be yours. But on the other side, if you surrender to her completely, if you follow her every word without resistance, she loses respect. Think of how many men fall into this trap. At first, they lead with confidence. But slowly, out of love or fear of losing her, they give in. They stop making decisions. They wait for her approval in everything. And soon, she looks at them not with admiration, but with disappointment. Why is this? Because deep down, women crave balance. They want to feel safe under your leadership, but they also want to feel free. They want to be loved, but not worshipped. They want your strength, but not your slavery. And if you fail to maintain this balance, the entire structure of the relationship begins to crumble. Now let me ask you, have you ever been in that position where she said, "Why don't you ever decide anything?" And then, on another day, she accused you of being too controlling? You felt confused, trapped between two opposite demands. That confusion is exactly the battlefield of this paradox. This is why philosophers like Machiavelli warned men, never hand over your authority completely. Because once you do, you can never get it back. And this is also why Jung spoke of the shadow in relationships, the hidden forces we deny, but which control us from beneath the surface. A woman may not even consciously know she is testing you, but her instincts will drive her to do it anyway. The fear of weakness is one of the most powerful forces in her psychology. If she senses you are weak, she may stay with you, but she will not follow you. She will slowly distance herself, emotionally first, then physically. And the man, confused and broken, wonders what went wrong. Let me tell you plainly, what went wrong is that you gave away your strength. You forgot that love is not built on weakness. It is built on respect. And respect cannot survive when you are afraid to stand firm. But here's the secret no one tells you, this paradox is not unsolvable. The man who can lead without crushing, who can listen without obeying blindly, who can love without becoming a servant, he's the man who passes every silent test. So, friends, remember these words as if they were carved into stone. She fears being led by a weak man, yet she despises the one who follows her. If you can understand this, you have unlocked one of the darkest secrets of human relationships. Friends, have you ever wondered why Niccolò Machiavelli, the father of political manipulation, is still quoted centuries later? Because his insights into power are not limited to kings and rulers, they apply to the most intimate relationships we live in today. Machiavelli once said, *, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. *. Now pause and let this sink in. What does this mean when it comes to women? It means that love without respect is useless. A woman may enjoy your affection, but if she senses you are weak, she will never truly follow you. Think about it. Just like a ruler must constantly guard his throne, a man must constantly guard his position in a woman's heart. If you believe that once she loves you, your work is done, you are already defeated. Because women, whether consciously or unconsciously, test your strength every single day. They test if you can lead, if you can decide, if you can resist being manipulated. This is exactly why Machiavelli advised rulers never to fully trust their allies. In the same way, you cannot blindly trust that love alone will protect your relationship. Love is fragile. Respect is eternal. Friends, let me ask you directly, have you ever been in a moment where you gave her everything, only to see her pull away? You sacrificed, you surrendered, you obeyed, yet she grew colder. That is the Machiavellian test in action. She does not consciously mean harm, but instinctively she cannot love a man who gives away all his power. Machiavelli's strategies teach us something brutal but true. Never let your guard down completely. Never surrender your authority in the name of peace. And never mistake comfort for security. The man who survives in love is the one who carries himself like a ruler. Not a tyrant, not a slave, but a ruler, calm, firm, and unshaken. He listens, but he does not bend. He loves, but he does not beg. He gives, but he never empties himself. Now, here is the secret. Women respect the man who can say no. Not with anger, not with cruelty, but with certainty. Because that no shows strength. That no proves leadership. And that no tells her, you may be my queen, but I am still the king. So remember, the dark art of Machiavelli is not about cruelty, it is about control. If you can control yourself, you will never lose control of her. This, my friends, is the law of power that rulers lived by, and it is the same law that defines the fate of your relationships. Friends, let me reveal to you one of the most uncomfortable truths about women. They do not always test you with direct questions or open arguments. No, most of their tests are silent, invisible, and hidden behind the smallest actions. And if you fail these silent tests, you lose respect without even realizing it. Have you ever noticed when she casually ignores your opinion on something small? You think it is meaningless, so you laugh it off. But in her mind, she just confirmed that your words carry no weight. Or maybe she makes you wait, deliberately delaying her response, just to see if you grow restless. If you do, you failed. Because in that moment, she learns that your patience is weak and your emotions can be controlled. Machiavelli himself warned rulers that the smallest cracks in discipline destroy the strongest empires. And in the kingdom of love, these cracks appear as silent tests. Every sigh, every delay, every subtle provocation is a question. Asterisk, are you strong enough to lead, or will you bend? Asterisk. Now, friends, I want you to think about this carefully. How many times have you caught yourself justifying, begging, or explaining when you could have stood firm? That moment right there, that is when she felt you slip. Because remember, women do not desire to lead a man. Deep down, they fear being led by a weak one. They despise the man who follows them, even if they never admit it out loud. So what must you do when these silent tests appear? You respond not with anger, not with weakness, but with calm authority. You listen, but you do not rush. You smile, but you do not beg. You decide, but you never ask for permission. Friends, this is where most men fail. They think love means surrender. They think care means obedience. But in truth, real love is built on balance, on the silent understanding that she can test you, but she cannot break you. Machiavelli's wisdom reminds us, asterisk, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Asterisk. In your case, the first method for estimating the strength of a man is to watch how he reacts to the smallest test. So next time she delays, ignores, or provokes, see it for what it really is, a silent test. And if you pass it, you do not just keep her love. You keep her respect. And respect, my friends, is the only currency that never loses value in the kingdom of women. Friends, let me ask you something directly. When was the last time you told a woman no? Not with anger, not with frustration, but with calm certainty. If you cannot remember, then that is the reason why you are losing respect without even realizing it. Machiavelli's wisdom was clear. Power is not in pleasing everyone, but in controlling yourself when others try to bend you. In relationships, this control appears in your ability to say no. Because here's the truth, women may not say it out loud, but deep inside, they do not respect a man who bends at every request. She may smile, she may enjoy it in a moment, but slowly, silently, she loses attraction. Why? Because your yes means nothing if it is never backed by a no. Think about it. A ruler who agrees with every request of his subjects is not respected, he is mocked. And in the same way, a man who always agrees becomes invisible in the eyes of a woman. Now imagine this, she asks you for something unreasonable. Most men, fearing conflict, immediately obey. But the strong man, the man who commands respect, pauses, looks her in the eye, and says, asterisk, no. That is not who I am. That is not what I stand for. Asterisk. That one word, spoken with calm conviction, shakes her more than 1,000 acts of obedience. Friends, let me make this clear, saying no does not mean being cruel. It does not mean being selfish. It means holding your ground, showing that you are not afraid to lose her approval. And that strength is exactly what makes her approval worth winning. Machiavelli wrote, *, never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. *. In your world, this means you do not need to fight or shout. You simply need to stand firm. A calm no is more powerful than a desperate yes. Ask yourself right now, how many times have you obeyed when you wanted to resist? How many times have you given in when you knew it was wrong? Those moments destroyed more respect than you realize. But here's the good news. Every time you say no with confidence, you rebuild your throne in her heart. She may protest, she may argue, but secretly, she feels something she cannot deny, attraction to your strength. So friends, if you take only one lesson from this part, let it be this: your no is your crown. Without it, you are just another man. With it, you are the king she cannot replace. Friends, let me take you even deeper. There's one thing women can never forgive in a man: weakness. Not mistakes, not failures, but weakness. Because to a woman, weakness is the slow poison that kills love, desire, and respect all at once. Have you ever wondered why she suddenly loses interest even when you're giving her everything? Why she grows colder, distant, or distracted? It is not because of what you gave, it is because of what you lacked: strength. Machiavelli taught rulers that a kingdom does not collapse from foreign invasion alone. More often, it collapses from weakness within. And my friends, in relationships, the exact same rule applies. She does not walk away because of what others offer her. She walks away because of what you failed to show her. And what is that failure? It is the failure to stand firm. The failure to decide. The failure to protect your own dignity. Think back for a moment. Have you ever begged for her love, pleaded for her attention, or apologized when you had done nothing wrong? In those moments, you thought you were saving the relationship. But in reality, you were burying it. Because every time you surrender your strength, her respect for you dies a little more. She may still stay, but not because she loves you, because she pities you. And pity is the death of attraction. Friends, let me be brutally honest here. A woman would rather be led by a man who sometimes makes mistakes but stays strong, than by a man who is perfect in love but weak in spirit. Because deep inside, her greatest fear is not being unloved, it is being led by a weak man. So what do? You eliminate weakness, step by step. You stop begging. You stop chasing. You stop explaining yourself endlessly. Instead, you choose silence when needed, firmness when required, and action when words are not enough. This is the strength she craves, the strength she tests for, and the strength that will keep her eyes locked on you even when the world tempts her away. Machiavelli once wrote, *, men should be either treated generously or destroyed, because they take revenge for slight injuries, for heavy ones they cannot. *. In love, the same applies. If you allow her to see weakness, she will never forget it. If you allow her to see strength, she will never escape it. So friends, remember this: weakness is not a mistake, it is a choice. And every day you choose to be weak, you are choosing to lose her respect. Do not give her that reason. Be the man who may bend but never breaks. Be the man whose strength speaks louder than words. Friends, let me ask you an honest question. Do you really think attraction is built only on kindness, romance, or love? No. That is what weak men believe. Real attraction is built on power, the kind of power that makes a woman feel your presence without you saying a single word. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some men, who are not even the most handsome or the richest, still command the strongest attention from women? Why? Because they radiate strength. Their decisions are firm, their words are few but sharp, and their energy cannot be ignored. Machiavelli warned rulers that love without power collapses, but power without love survives. The same rule exists in relationships. A woman may not always love you, but if she respects your power, she cannot leave you. Now, friends, let me take you inside her mind. When she looks at you, she is not just seeing your face or your body, she is asking herself, asterisk, can this man protect me? Can he lead me? Can I feel safe under his strength? Asterisk. If the answer is yes, her attraction grows like fire. If the answer is no, her interest fades no matter how much love you give. And here's the paradox, she will test your power constantly. She will question your choices, challenge your patience, and even push you to your limits. Not because she hates you, but because she needs to know if your power is real or just an illusion. This is why most men lose. They believe that love alone is enough. They pour gifts, compliments, and sacrifices, thinking it will secure her heart. But in truth, none of this matters without power. Because without respect, love becomes pity. So what must you do? You build power through discipline. Discipline in your emotions. Discipline in your words. Discipline in your actions. Do not reveal desperation. Do not lose control in anger. Do not beg for what should be given freely. These are the habits of weak men. Instead, you hold your ground. You give when it is deserved, not demanded. You withdraw when respect is lost. And most importantly, you always act like a man who can walk away if he must. That is the ultimate display of power. Machiavelli once said, asterisk, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Asterisk. And in relationships, this translates to one truth, it is better to be respected than to be adored. Because respect keeps her loyalty even when love fades. Friends, understand this, real attraction is not about making her laugh or making her feel special. Real attraction is about making her feel your strength in every interaction. So ask yourself now, does she see your power or does she see your weakness? That answer will decide if she clings to you or if she slowly drifts away. Friends, let me reveal to you something most men never realize. Behind every word she says, behind every test she gives, and behind every moment she challenges you, there is one hidden desire that drives her, the desire to feel your strength. She does not wake up thinking, how can I ruin his peace today? She wakes up wondering, is this man still strong enough to lead me? And here is the truth, this is not about money, looks, or even charm. This is about dominance. The quiet, unshakable dominance that makes her feel safe in your presence. Think about it. Why does she argue with you over small things? Why does she push your patience? Why does she sometimes behave in ways that confuse you? Because every move is a silent test. She wants to feel that no matter how much pressure she applies, you will not break. Machiavelli advised rulers to test the loyalty of their allies, to see who would stand firm in times of chaos. Women do the same, except they test the strength of your spirit. But here's the twist, friends, she is not testing to destroy you. She is testing because deep down, she craves to surrender to a man who proves himself unshakable. She wants to be led, not because she is weak, but because only in the presence of strength can she fully release her feminine power. Let me be very clear, if you fail these tests, she may stay with you out of habit, but her heart will wander. If you pass them, she will give you more loyalty, more passion, and more devotion than you ever thought possible. Now ask yourself honestly, how many times have you failed this hidden desire? How many times have you shouted in anger when you should have been calm? How many times have you folded when you should have stood firm? These are the moments where you unknowingly taught her that you are not the man she seeks. But it is never too late to reverse it. Every time you pass her test, you feed her hidden desire. Every time you stay calm, every time you hold your position, every time you lead without apology, you remind her that you are the man she can trust. Machiavelli once wrote, asterisk, the promise given was a necessity of the past, the word broken is a necessity of the present. Asterisk. In relationships, this means that her words may not always match her heart. She may protest, she may resist, but her hidden desire is not to win, it is to feel that she is with a man who cannot be broken. So friends, Never forget this. A woman's greatest secret is not to control you, but to be controlled by a man worthy of her. Her tests are not punishment, they are invitations. Invitations to rise, to lead, and to claim the respect that will keep her forever by your side. Friends, let me tell you one of the most dangerous traps men fall into, the trap of overgiving. At first, it feels right. You love her, so you give her everything. Your time, your energy, your money, even your self-respect. You believe that the more you give, the more she will love you. But the reality is far more brutal. The more you give without demand, the less she values what you give. Machiavelli warned rulers that generosity can destroy power. A prince who gives too freely weakens his kingdom because people stop respecting his limits. In the same way, a man who gives endlessly to a woman, without making her earn it, weakens himself in her eyes. Think back, have you ever showered her with gifts just to make her happy, only to find her more distant than before? Have you ever sacrificed your own dreams for her, only to see her lose respect instead of gaining love? That, my friends, is the danger of overgiving. Because here's the dark truth, she does not want everything handed to her. She wants to feel that what she receives has value, that it is the reward of your strength, not the surrender of your weakness. When you overgive, you kill attraction in two ways. First, you remove the thrill of earning your approval. Second, you silently communicate that you value her more than yourself. And once she feels this imbalance, her desire begins to die. Let me make this brutally clear, she does not fall for the man who worships her. She falls for the man who respects himself enough to give only what is deserved. Friends, do not misunderstand me. I am not telling you to be cold or selfish. I am telling you to give with discipline. To give from a place of strength, not weakness. Because every time you overgive, you are not proving your love, you are proving your fear of losing her. And women can smell fear. Machiavelli once wrote, men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. In relationships, this means she may forget your mistakes, but she will never forget the moment you taught her that you do not value yourself. So what is the solution? You must learn the power of restraint. Say no when it is needed. Hold back your gifts until they are earned. Do not apologize for your standards. Because when you give from a place of discipline, she respects you. When you give everything without restraint, she uses you. So remember this, overgiving does not make her love you more, it makes her love you less. The strongest men are not the ones who give everything, they are the ones who know the value of what they give. Friends, let me share with you one of the greatest paradoxes in love. Sometimes, the closer you get to her, the faster she slips away. And sometimes, the further you pull back, the stronger her desire grows. Why does this happen? Because constant presence kills mystery, and mystery is the oxygen of attraction. Machiavelli taught rulers that if you want respect, you must not make yourself too common. A prince who is always available loses his authority. The same applies to you. If you are always at her call, always ready to please, always present when she demands, you are not a man in her eyes, you are a servant. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how she texts you more when you stop chasing? How she becomes more affectionate when you finally focus on yourself? That is no accident. That is the power of distance. When you create space, she has room to miss you. When you disappear, she feels the silence. When you hold back, she begins to crave the moments she once took for granted. And friends, this is not about playing childish games. This is about balance. Because if you give her endless presence, she will suffocate. But if you master the rhythm of closeness and distance, she will be addicted to you. Machiavelli once wrote, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. In relationships, this means it is better to be respected from a distance than disrespected in constant presence. Let me be brutally honest, women do not chase men who are always there. They chase the men who are sometimes out of reach. Why? Because being slightly out of reach forces her to invest. It makes her prove her desire. But here's the mistake most men make, they confuse distance with neglect. They vanish completely, thinking that will increase her desire. But when you vanish without strength, she feels abandoned, not attracted. The key, my friends, is controlled distance. Step back, but do not disappear. Stay focused on your purpose, your mission, your goals. Let her feel that you are not her possession. You are a man of value whose time must be earned. Because when you learn to master distance, you create an invisible pull that no gift, no words, and no promises can replace. You make her chase not because she has to, but because she wants to. So remember this, love is not kept alive by constant presence, it is kept alive by the hunger that distance creates. The man who understands this never loses her attention, never loses her respect, and never loses his power. Friends, let me reveal one of the most dangerous illusions in relationships, the illusion of control. She argues, she insists, she demands. On the surface it looks like she's the one in charge. But beneath that storm lies a truth most men never see. She does not want control, she wants to test whether you are strong enough to take it. Machiavelli warned rulers about the danger of letting subjects believe they are in charge. A wise prince allows them to feel powerful while quietly holding all real power in his hands. Women operate in the same way. She may shout, she may resist, she may even rebel, but she is secretly measuring whether you are capable of leading despite her resistance. Think back. How many times have you let her win an argument just to keep the peace, only to notice her respect for you vanish slowly afterward? How many times have you said yes to something you knew was wrong, just because you feared losing her? Those were the moments you handed her control and killed her desire. Because here's the truth, she does not fall in love with a man she can control. She falls in love with a man she cannot move, a man who stands firm even when she resists, a man whose authority she cannot shake. But let me make something clear, this is not about domination in the childish sense. This is about presence. The calm, unshakable presence that says, I know who I am, and I know where we are going. You can come with me, or be left behind. When she feels this strength, she relaxes. She may fight you on the surface, but deep down she feels safe, protected, and free. Because paradoxically, the moment you take control is the moment she finally releases her illusion of control. Machiavelli once wrote, the wise man does it once what the fool does it last. In love, this means you must establish your authority early, not after she has tested you 100 times. Because once you give her the habit of control, it is almost impossible to take it back. So friends, understand this, the illusion of control is her mask. It is her way of checking your strength. If you crumble, she loses faith. If you stand firm, she gives you something more powerful than words, her trust. And trust is the foundation of true loyalty. Remember this always, she may act like she wants to lead, but her heart only rests when she finds a man who will never hand her the crown. Friends, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Machiavelli understood the value of silence. He advised rulers never to reveal more than necessary, because words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. A silent prince seemed mysterious, unpredictable, even dangerous, and that made people respect him. Now ask yourself, how often do you try to explain, to justify, to prove your worth to her? How often do you fall into the trap of endless talking, hoping that the right words will make her understand? And yet, the more you speak, the less she listens. Because here's the truth, words are cheap, silence is priceless. When you stay silent at the right moment, you force her to confront herself. She begins to question what you are thinking, what you are planning, what you are holding back. That mystery creates tension, and tension creates attraction. Have you noticed how uncomfortable some women get when you don't answer right away? How they push harder, speak faster, even become frustrated. That is the power of silence. Your absence of words becomes a mirror that makes her face her own emotions. But silence is not weakness, it is strategy. If you stay quiet out of fear, she will sense it and lose respect. But if you stay quiet out of strength, she will feel it, and it will echo louder than any speech you could have given. Machiavelli once wrote, *, the promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. *, in other words are tools, not chains. And sometimes, refusing to speak is the sharpest tool of all. Here's how you use it. When she tries to provoke you, do not react with anger, react with silence. When she demands answers in the heat of emotion, hold your ground in calm silence. When she pushes boundaries, show her that her noise does not shake your calm. Because every moment you remain silent from strength, you grow larger in her eyes. You are no longer the man trying to win her approval, you are the man she is trying to understand. And friends, women are endlessly drawn to what they cannot fully understand. So remember this, your silence is not emptiness, it is power. It is the roar of discipline, the mark of confidence, and the reminder that you are a man who cannot be manipulated with words. Speak when it is time to speak. But when your silence carries more weight, let it be your answer. For in those moments, you will not just be heard, you will be remembered. Friends, if there is one truth that separates weak men from powerful men, it is this: weak men fear setting boundaries, strong men know boundaries create desire. A man without boundaries is like a city without walls, open to attack, easily conquered, and never respected. Machiavelli warned rulers that if they failed to protect their borders, enemies would invade without mercy. In love, the same law applies. If you do not defend your personal limits, she will test, break, and destroy them. But here's the paradox: while women push against your boundaries, they do not hate them. In fact, they are secretly drawn to them. Why? Because boundaries are proof of strength. Boundaries say, *, this is who I am. This is what I allow. This is what I will never tolerate. *. Think back, my friends. Have you ever noticed how her attraction grows the moment you say no? How she suddenly looks at you differently when you refuse something unreasonable. That is the moment she sees you not as a boy desperate to please, but as a man who cannot be bent. Machiavelli once wrote, *, he who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. *, in relationships, this means you must have the courage to stand by your rules, even when she resists. Because if you do not command yourself, you cannot command respect. But let me warn you, boundaries are not cruelty. Boundaries are clarity. They are not about punishing her, they are about defining yourself. And when you define yourself, you give her something rare in today's world, a man she can trust. Because deep down, a woman does not want a man she can walk over. She wants a man who protects his values, his mission, and his dignity at all costs. That is the man she will follow, respect, and desire. Here's the truth: without boundaries, love dies. Because without boundaries, there is no respect. And without respect, there can never be attraction. So friends, learn this lesson well. Your boundaries are not walls that keep her out. They are pillars that make her feel safe enough to love you, and strong enough to chase you. The man who fears losing her will bend his rules until nothing is left. The man who knows his worth will never compromise his lines. And in the end, it is always the second man who wins both her respect and her heart. Friends, let me share with you one of the oldest truths in both politics and love: mystery is power. Machiavelli warned rulers never to reveal their full intentions, because the unknown creates both fear and respect. The same law applies in relationships. When a woman feels she has completely figured you out, her desire begins to fade. But when you remain unpredictable, she cannot stop thinking about you. Have you noticed? The man who is always available, always explaining, always telling her every thought, slowly becomes boring. But the man who keeps a part of himself hidden, who reveals his mind piece by piece, becomes unforgettable. Because curiosity is the fuel of attraction. And mystery is what keeps that curiosity alive. Think about it. Why are women drawn to stories of dangerous men, powerful rulers, or mysterious strangers. Because their unknown nature pulls her imagination into overdrive. She cannot help but wonder, what is he hiding? What is he thinking? What else is there to discover? Machiavelli once wrote, everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. This is not only political wisdom, it is romantic wisdom. You must let her see what you choose to show, while keeping the rest locked away until the right moment. But mystery does not mean deception. It means control over your self-disclosure. It means never showing all your cards at once. It means living a life so rich, so focused, that she is always trying to catch up with your story. Here's how you use it. Do not reveal every detail of your plans. Let your actions surprise her. Do not always be available. Let your absence speak as loudly as your presence. Do not explain every emotion. Let her wonder what lies behind your silence. Because the less she knows, the more she feels. And the more she feels, the deeper she falls. So remember this, mystery is not a game, it is an energy. It is the invisible aura that surrounds a man who knows himself, who lives with purpose, and who refuses to let the world read his every thought. Be that man. Keep them guessing. Let your silence, your unpredictability, and your hidden depths create a gravitational pull she cannot escape. For when you master mystery, you do not just hold her attention, you hold her imagination. And once her imagination belongs to you, so does her heart. Friends, here's a truth many men never want to face. Women respect strength far more than they value love. Why? Because love without strength is weakness. And weakness, no matter how sweet or kind, will never command respect. Machiavelli warned rulers against showing too much mercy, because mercy without power invited betrayal. The same principle exists in relationships. If your love is not backed by strength, it becomes a chain she wants to escape. Have you ever noticed? The man who gives her everything, who showers her with gifts, who never says no, is rarely the man she truly desires. But the man who sets rules, who stands firm, who protects his mission before anything else, that is the man she cannot resist. Because women do not fall for endless words of affection. They fall for the energy of dominance, discipline, and control. They fall for the man whose strength makes his love meaningful. Machiavelli once wrote, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. This does not mean cruelty, it means respect. A woman may enjoy the comfort of love, but she only submits to the authority of strength. Think carefully, my friends. How many men have lost everything because they confused affection with leadership? They believed love alone would keep her, only to watch her drift toward the man she respects more. Here's the bitter truth. Love without boundaries, without rules, without authority, dies quickly. But strength creates the frame in which love can survive. So what does this mean for you? Never give more love than you give leadership. Never beg for her loyalty, command it with your actions. Never think love is enough, because without respect, it is worthless. Understand this well. When a woman says she wants love, what she truly means is she wants strength wrapped in love. She wants a man whose heart is kind, but whose backbone is unbreakable. Because in the end, love alone may make her smile, but strength is what makes her stay. And friends, if you wish to be both loved and respected, remember, strength first, love second. For only then will your love carry the weight of power, and only then will she see you not as a boy she can control, but as the man she must follow. Friends, listen carefully. If you always stand too close, she will never feel your gravity. But if you master controlled distance, you become unforgettable. Machiavelli warned that rulers must never allow themselves to be too common with their people, because familiarity breeds contempt. The same principle is true in love. When you are always available, always present, always eager, you lose your value. But when you create distance, Not out of fear, but out of strength, you build desire. She begins to wonder, where is he? What is he doing? Why am I thinking about him when he is not even here? This is the secret of controlled distance. It is not neglect. It is not abandonment. It is a deliberate art of giving space so that your presence regains its power. Think about fire, my friends. If you smother it with too much wood, it suffocates. If you starve it, it dies. But if you give it just enough space to breathe, it burns brighter. The same law applies to attraction. Controlled distance is the breath that keeps her passion alive. Here is how you use it. Do not reply instantly to every message. Let her wait, let her anticipate. Do not cancel your mission or your goals just to be with her. Let her see you are already claimed by a greater purpose. Do not always say yes to meeting. Sometimes your absence will make your next presence unforgettable. Machiavelli once said, men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. In relationships, distance creates both. She loves you, but she fears losing you. That is the balance that keeps desire alive. But be warned, distance without clarity becomes coldness. The art is in control. You must step back without vanishing. You must withdraw without rejecting. Because too much closeness suffocates her, and too much distance kills the bond. But just enough space makes her chase. So friends, remember this. Do not give her every second. Do not make yourself too cheap. When you are rare, you are valuable. When you are always there, you are invisible. Controlled distance is not about playing games. It is about discipline. It is about showing that your time, your focus, and your presence are luxuries, not commodities. And once she realizes that your presence is not guaranteed, she will begin to crave it. She will respect it. And she will chase it with the same hunger that once made men bow before their rulers. Friends, history teaches us that every ruler who relied only on love was betrayed. And every ruler who relied only on fear was hated. The strongest leaders, and the most unforgettable men, were those who mastered the balance of both. Machiavelli himself declared, it is best to be both feared and loved, but if you cannot be both, then it is safer to be feared. Why did he say this? Because love without fear invites disrespect, while fear without love creates rebellion. But together, they create loyalty. This law is as true in relationships as it is in kingdoms. A woman may enjoy your affection, but if she does not respect your strength, she will test you endlessly. At the same time, if she only fears you but never feels your warmth, she will eventually escape. So the art is in balance. Too much love makes you weak. Too much fear makes you cruel. But the man who blends the two becomes untouchable. Here's how the balance works. Show her enough love that she feels safe. Show her enough strength that she feels she cannot control you. Let her know you care deeply, but never so deeply that you would lose yourself. Think of it like a sword and a shield. Love is the shield, it protects the bond. Fear is the sword, it guards your authority. One without the other is incomplete. Remember this, friends, women admire love, but they obey strength. And when she sees that your strength is unshakable, your love suddenly becomes priceless. The most dangerous mistake men make is believing that endless kindness will win her loyalty. But women do not give loyalty to weakness, they give it to power. That power, however, must be tempered with care. Because fear without love makes her resent you. And love without fear makes her dismiss you. But the balance makes her follow you, desire you, and never want to lose you. So do not aim to be just a sweet lover. Do not aim to be just a dominant master. Aim to be both. The man who can inspire her heart and command her respect at the same time, that is the man she will never forget. And that, my friends, is the timeless law Machiavelli gave to both rulers and men. Love without power dies. Fear without care backfires. But the fusion of both creates loyalty that cannot be broken. Friends, we have traveled through secrets that few dare to reveal. From strength to distance, from love to fear, and from desire to control, you now hold the timeless weapons that rulers once used to shape entire kingdoms. But remember this, Machiavelli's wisdom was never just for princes and kings. It was for anyone who wanted to command loyalty, protect their power, and never be broken by betrayal. And in today's world, that includes you. Because in a modern battlefield of love and psychology, men are losing their strength. They are told to always be soft, to always give in, to always love without limits. But history shows what happens to leaders, and to lovers, who do this. They are forgotten, replaced, and stripped of respect. My friends, do not let that be you. Do not become the man who loves so much that he loses himself. Become the man who blends love with strength, who commands respect while giving affection, who uses distance to ignite desire, and who balances fear and love like a true strategist. Machiavelli taught rulers to think ahead, to prepare for betrayal, to never rely on blind trust. Apply the same in your life. Do not trust blindly, test loyalty. Do not give endlessly, set boundaries. Do not fear being firm, because firmness is the language of respect. And here's the truth no one tells you, women do not truly despise strength. They crave it. They admire it. They chase it. Because strength creates security. Strength makes love meaningful. Strength makes you unforgettable. So carry this Machiavellian legacy with pride. Let it sharpen your mind, strengthen your heart, and guide your actions. Remember, these are not tricks, they are laws of human nature. Those who master them rise above the rest. Those who ignore them become slaves to emotions they cannot control. Now, if these lessons opened your eyes, if you felt even once that I was speaking directly to you, then do not stay silent. Hit that like button right now. Leave a comment below sharing the part that struck you the most, because your words might inspire another man watching this tonight. And most importantly, if you believe every man deserves to hear truths that schools, society, and even friends will never teach, then subscribe to this channel today. Because what comes next will be even darker, even deeper, and even more powerful. Do not just watch, join the circle of those who refuse to be weak. This is not entertainment. This is survival. This is power. And remember these final words, friends. Love fades. Fear fades. But respect, the respect you earn through strength, never fades. Friends, tell me just one thing. Are you in love? Single? Or broken?